You spend your life trying to please, trying to be accepted, loved, recognized, smiling at the right time, giving in when necessary, hiding your pain so you don't bother anyone. Deep down, you believe that if you do everything right, you'll finally feel whole. But there's a problem. The world was not made to reward those who erase themselves. It was made to crush those who live in fear of displeasing. Carl Jung knew this, and he didn't ask for permission to exist. Most people live under an illusion that the love of others is a condition for their own existence. But the truth is that the approval you desperately seek comes at a cost, and the cost is you, your silence, your courage, your choices, all sold in exchange for hollow applause. The first lesson is simple. When you stop caring what others think, everything starts to fall into place. Not in the romantic sense that life will magically bloom, but in the sense that your relationship with yourself begins to heal. And that is enough to transform the world around you. Jung said that no one becomes enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And one of the deepest shadows of modern humanity is the need for the gaze of others. The attachment to validation is a psychological prison, a kind of collective neurosis, fed by social media, by a domesticated education system, and by a culture that teaches from an early age. Be a good little boy and everyone will love you. But no one loves someone who lives like a mirror. People only love, or hate, those who dare to be whole. There comes a moment in the life of every awakened soul when something breaks. It could be a failed relationship, a friend who betrays, a company that discards you. And in that moment of collapse, if you're brave enough, you'll hear a whisper. Now that no one is clapping for you, you are free to become whatever you want. Freedom begins with detachment. You need to understand. Not caring doesn't mean turning into stone. It means stopping living as a reflection of others. It means abandoning the illusion that you need to fit in to deserve respect. It means choosing inner peace over social acceptance. But don't think this will lead to negative isolation. Quite the opposite. This is where the second half of Jung's teaching comes in. Solitude is not loneliness. It is freedom. Loneliness is being disconnected even from yourself. Solitude is self-encounter. It's when you fall into silence and realize you are not alone. You are complete. Because finally, you have you. Jung said, loneliness doesn't come from having no people around, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. And it's true. We are surrounded by voices but starved for meaning. The world shouts and you fall silent. But when you choose solitude, you don't run from the world. You transcend it. It is in solitude that you begin to think with your own mind, to dream your own symbols, to hear your own soul. And in that process, you stop begging for affection because you start offering love to yourself. You stop chasing approval and begin building inner power. This is the birth of the true self, a central concept in Jung's analytical psychology. The total, indivisible being that emerges when you integrate your shadow and embrace your full self. And the most interesting part is that when you become whole, paradoxically, you begin to attract everything you used to chase. Respect, desire, curiosity. Not because you need it, but because now you emanate something rare. Presence. Jung knew that the real danger of the modern world was not chaos, but conformity. He warned that the more the collective consciousness spreads, the more the individual dissolves. And a dissolved soul becomes a crowd, becomes cattle, becomes a number. But those who choose solitude, the conscious decision to be self-sufficient, become immune to manipulation. Freedom is not the absence of chains. It is the ability to break them from within. It is seeing the world as it is, without filters, without masks, and still remaining whole. To be free is to owe nothing to anyone, not even explanations, not even edited versions of yourself. Of course, this is frightening. The fear of rejection is glued to our DNA. We were made to please tribes, to avoid exile, to seek the warmth of acceptance. But there comes a point when you realize living to please is dying slowly. You were born to be something that has no name, something that can only be revealed when the noise of the world is silenced. And that silence exists in only one place: in solitude. When you embrace solitude, you understand that you don't need crowds to be happy. You need direction, integrity, a mission. You begin to love your own reflection in the mirror. You begin to respect your own limits. You begin to protect yourself the way you would protect someone you love. Because now you love, but you love yourself. And thus, the equation is complete. By stopping caring, you find solitude. By living in solitude, you find freedom. And with freedom, everything starts to fall into place. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. And when you change, the world has no choice but to respond. This is the truth Jung left for those who have the courage to live outside the illusion. The price is high. You'll have to kill off old versions of yourself. You'll lose people. You'll cry alone. You'll doubt. But then, the silence turns into revelation, and you finally understand that you were trapped all along, and the key was always inside you.